When, the word is when. When, back in the day, warriors, keeping in mind that women stayed at home. When warriors traveled quite a distance beyond the boundaries of their home, they did not carry their true identity with them, but kept that to themselves and locked on the inside. And just so that they would never forget where they came from and who their people were, they would write lines of code in case they got themselves into some situation far, far, far from home and they needed some reminder tones. That's what the code was for. So let's go back to Exodus, shall we? Starting with the X as in two strands. Doesn't matter what you use to make those strands, ink, cloth, leather. One is laid down first and the other one is laid on top of it to make the mark. And let's travel to the O. O represents the home and the boundaries of that home, much like borders. If you don't have boundaries established in your home that resemble and protect the people and the things that are precious to you in that home, then you step out of the home and into your community and you see the same thing going on. You have no boundaries. Now, the D, of course, can be the doors of the home, of your community, almost like entrance and exit points to be monitored and observed. If there are two figures inside of the O, much like those strands, walking around in adult type shoes, and one of them allows the entrance and the exit of individuals into the home, thus compromising the contents of the home, which might include children, then that person or those people could never be fully categorized as an adult, let alone a man or a woman, and the man certainly could not ever be considered a warrior. Even if the flavoring within that O, that home, became distasteful based on maybe time restraints, the inability to accomplish what one wanted to accomplish in a certain time frame, or arguments that took root and laid afloat within that O, it's still the responsibility of the adults walking around in adult type shoes to maintain the boundaries of the O, also known as the home. So let's go through it almost like a set of beads. We're weaving and we're going to learn from the word Exodus. Going to the E, almost like the entrance and the exit. Also referred to as allowing evil to enter and to exit freely, causing havoc within a home that once had maybe not strong boundaries, but did have boundaries at one point in time until evil gave root and was allowed to step into that O. So let's run the bead. If evil is allowed to enter through one of those strands that form that X and through the home, and they are then later allowed, once they wreak havoc, to use any door to return and exit, then the door remains open. The other strand that may be the one that's being laid down while this stuff is going on is supposed to have some form of protection. If the man in the house cannot provide, due to his lacking of manhood, lacking of warrior type skills, to provide the protection for that home, other men in surrounding homes and in the community must step forth and fill those shoes. Now, there is a thing called the U, which is also the horns. And back in them days, the men wore the horns. And if they allowed the doors to open and allow evil to enter, evil to exit, and to return, wreaking havoc on a home, those type of men were placed outside of the larger O with a set of orders to expand their learning, not only of themselves, but of their people, because that shit was not allowed.